Hi you guys, we're on week 5 of The Artist's Way with Julia Cameron, and I mean the synchronicities again are astounding and crazy, and I almost can't believe it myself, but so this week was about honest changes and integrity in our art. And in the chapter, she talked about possibly a Kriya, happening for us. And Kriya is a Sanskrit word for spiritual emergency or surrender. And it's so interesting. She talked about how it might be the onset of a flu or something like that. And it's so crazy because this week I actually contracted the stomach flu somehow, and was really weak, couldn't do much, and it was crazy. Like, it's funny because I had been thinking about doing some kind of fast or cleanse just to kind of clear my mind, and I had actually talked about it with a Reiki teacher I had been working with, and who's also a naturopath, and she kind of said, no, don't do it, because you'll just have to build up all the things that you lose during that time anyway. But I've had good experiences in the past with that, so I was still thinking about it. And it's just funny how I was just had so much nausea that I couldn't really eat, and I was really weak, and I just had to rest. And it was a great week because it was like artist dates multiplied, and I watched a lot of movies and listened to a lot of music and watched comedy, and just sort of felt and felt okay about it, because normally I feel like if I would allow myself that much time to play and indulge in art, I would feel guilty for not having worked or done something else. So I really just enjoyed, and I learned a lot from watching. It's funny, like the little nuggets of wisdom you get from watching, or just kind of taking in and digesting art, and in places you wouldn't expect, like the whole fair compensation thing is still something I'm learning and working on, and as an artist, as a healer, as everything. And I was watching the Dallas Buyers Club, which I hadn't seen, and it's funny how Matthew McConaughey's character in that movie was, traveling and getting these natural supplements to treat HIV and AIDS, and he was like, it's $400, I won't take anything less, like I'm not doing a charity here. And it was just so funny to me that, wow, even though he was kind of doing it to help people, he still expected that pay. So I was like, wow, that's just so interesting. Like, it almost made me feel silly for participating in, kind of giving it away for free for whatever was promised, publicity, whatever. I mean, I think that's part of the journey and experience, but then eventually you graduate into earning fair pay for what you're putting out. So, I mean, that was like, it awakened something there that was kind of unclear or whatever. And yeah, so that was interesting. There were a couple more, but they'll come to me later. So I was really weak. I couldn't do anything. And then when this is like the second day where I finally have a little bit of strength back. And yesterday I had a little bit of strength again, and I was listening to music and just was singing. And but I have neighbors, so I don't like to sing loudly. That's always been an issue for me. It's always been my thing, is like, I don't like disturbing the peace. You know, I don't want to rehearse, like practice belting or singing really loudly when there are people in close quarters. It just feels intrusive to me, and I don't like when people disturb my peace. So it's funny, I was singing really lightly and quietly to myself, kind of, but still felt expressed. So, and then today I was thinking, I almost had a vision of, actors will understand this, being interviewed. We always pretend we're being interviewed about our process and our, and our thoughts on things, and interview ourselves. And I was imagining being interviewed about my style, my singing style, and my vocals. And I was saying it really happened out of assimilating to my environment, because, or my circumstances, because while I have a history of over singing and wanting to have this loud booming voice, and I'll actually you can hear for yourself. I'll put my SoundCloud channel or page down in the comment section, and you can see for yourself. Like, I have a history of over singing and pushing and all of that. And so I had this epiphany that, well, maybe if I stopped resisting reality and just learned the lessons that maybe my circumstances were trying to teach me, that maybe if I eased up and relaxed a little bit and laid back and had more of a chill vocal, that I would still be expressed, and I could stop kind of resisting reality and blaming my circumstances for not being able to create in that way, and it could still sound great and serve a purpose. And yeah, so I imagined that being the answer to the interviewer's question, right? Like, how did you develop this style? It's so laid back and chill. And oh yeah, well, I kind of just assimilated to my circumstances, and decided to have more of a tranquil sound, because I never had a place to rehearse really loud booming vocals that I like to sing. So I thought that was funny and really interesting. And this whole thing about Kriya and being surrender and letting go and discovering your new identity as an artist. I was blown away by that, because I had just had that epiphany, and then I read that in the chapter, and I was like, that's crazy, right? The synchronicities. Are you guys having these synchronicities too? I'm kind of blown away. Like, if you're not doing this process, it's a lot of work. There's a lot of writing this week, but and I can't go through it all, but so much writing. What else did I want to say about that? Oh, and also the Kriya. So along the lines of not resisting any longer, it also, I was more gentle with myself. Like I said, I didn't guilt trip myself for enjoying life and having a little bit of pleasure and fun and enjoying art, instead of working or putting stuff out there or whatever, or learning. I have this addiction to learning. So, and it's funny that this week we have that, what did she call it? A reading drought or something like that. Can't remember the word she used. But we're not reading this week. We're not taking in all that. We're not actually listening to the radio. We're not watching TV. We're not watching videos. And it's funny because I'm always watching educational videos, motivational stuff on YouTube, and reading. Certainly I have that addiction to learning, and like her idea for this week is to cut that stuff off so that you're doing more, which I didn't expect that advice, but I'm excited to try that out. So yes, so stop resisting. See that the world isn't cruel and harsh. I guess I had this lingering subconscious or unconscious belief that, you know, the world's a really cruel place. You have to fight, you know, you have to defend yourself, you have to protect yourself. And so in that sense, I felt like I had to be strong. And I was a little bit hardened by that, even though I'm very sensitive, like I'm a very sensitive person. And I realized it was really me projecting my harsh critic, my harsh and critical inner voice onto the world. And the world's not really like that. I mean, I have had occasional situations like that, but I'm really just kind of reliving and terrorizing myself with the cruelty I experienced as a child that has nothing to do with what's happening now. So having been so weakened by that virus or stomach flu or whatever it was, it helped me have like just a more gentle approach. So this is getting long, sorry. So I don't need to be strong or right or good all the time. Like I can be real. And yeah, we did all those questions, we did those time traveling exercises, the environment, all those tasks we did. We wrote an artist's prayer. Oh, creative force, flow through me, guide me, and help me to navigate this creative path with poise, grace, ease, skill, and beauty. Allow divine intelligence, humor, and bliss to pour through me in abundance so that I may not only be fulfilled, but overflowing to generously inspire and spark others. Help me to reveal my artistic identity and create a life well lived with no regrets. Amen. So that was the artist prayer that I wrote. She talked about doing an extended artist date. It's interesting. I'm traveling to Canada to visit my spiritual sister on the 13th. So, and that's my brother's birthday. Purge one low self-worth outfit from your closet to make room for the new. And yeah, the reading deprivation, that's what it is, reading deprivation. So yeah, another incredible week, incredible experience, incredible synchronicity with this process. And then we're going to take a look and see if, you know, we broke our reading deprivation kind of vow for this week, and how did we do it? Was it a tantrum or whatever? Because oftentimes we'll throw a fit about that, she said. So we'll see. I'm going to do my best to stick to that. And yeah, so this was a really, really, really cool week. Next week we'll be recovering a sense of possibility. So I'm really excited about that. So many breakthroughs. It's so interesting. It's so incredible, this process. Would love you to share your experiences in the comments, or feel free to email me. I'll link all my social media and stuff in the comments so you can find me elsewhere. I'm taking this journey on Instagram and Facebook as well. I'd appreciate you subscribing to the channel. You know, like this video so I know you're watching, and click the bell for notifications for new videos. And I'd love to know how you're doing with this process. I hope you're having the same amazing synchronicity as I am. So I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.